Dang it.
Welcome to your Real Estate Update with Darren Ahearn. Each week, we break down housing trends, mortgage updates, buyer and seller strategies, and the local changes shaping Frederick County and beyond. No fluff, just smart insight to help you make better decisions with your home and your money.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to your Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahearn, your host, and this is our 8th episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are here live on this beautiful, beautiful Monday night in Frederick, almost in downtown. This is on North Market Street. It's Studio 401. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you follow the rules. This is the big one. We want to know what is on your mind, and so make sure that you text in there. And on the comments, any questions, QQQ, and any stories, anything you want to share and stuff like that, we'll be able to grab those and be able to talk about that maybe for a little bit tonight, because we want to know what's on your mind. What are your thoughts, cares, questions, and concerns that revolve all around your weekly dose of real estate? So, hey, the big thing we've been talking about is the $100 gift card to Sheetz to give everybody half a tank of gas. But the whole contest is based on interest rates getting down to 6.25%. You got to be able to tell us when that might be, and then we take down your name and information and all that fun stuff for that. So you can let me know, 240-344-1713. And I think it's going to be in a little while, because unfortunately today we're going to talk about it a little bit and touch on it. It went up just a little bit. So, all right, we're going to have a fun time tonight. We want to know what's on your mind, and make sure you like, subscribe, hit the share button, and all that good stuff. And then you'll be notified when we are always on Everything Frederick Live. So thank you guys so much. We have an awesome special guest tonight. Go ahead and put it on over there. Mr. Mark Hamrick. This is Frederick's one and only, better known as the Hamrocker. Yeah.
How are you? How are you, Darren?
I'm doing good. It's almost like a wrestling name. The Hamrocker's coming out.
You know, it's I did not come up with that name, but it's kind of stuck. It sticks in people's heads. So, you know, I have a dream of maybe becoming a rock star one day. I've been stuck in the real estate business forever. Yeah. It has its good times and it has its bad times. And hopefully we're on an upward trend, I'm thinking.
No, it's going to be all right. So let's talk a little bit. We met when? Tell the whole audience out there, when did you meet Darren Ahearn, and when did I meet the Frederick's only Hamrocker?
Well, you know, that's an interesting question, Darren. My title, my real estate career really started back in 1988 when I was looking for a summer job. I was done with working out in the heat. I started working at age 11 at a dairy farm, and I just basically decided, hey, Dad, you got to get me some kind of job. Do you have some kind of connections? My dad was a minister up in Thurmont.
Yeah, he was,
and he had some connections. And one guy that he knew, that he preached, he had a church down in Buckystown years before I was even born. His name was Charlie Keller. He was the clerk of the court. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting a job at the clerk of the court's office in 1988. And I worked in land records. That's when I discovered land records. In fact, we'll touch on this later, because my experience in the land records, I have a great little sitcom that we could do. It might not be politically correct. I don't know if the woke media will let us do it, but land records is a very interesting place, because you've got, back in the day before technology, you had to search titles prior to settlements. Mm-hmm. And it was like you would have basically in Frederick County, you had like maybe 10 to 15 different abstracting companies. And Montgomery County, you had like 20 to 30. And it was kind of like a social library kind of thing. And so I had a job there with Charlie Keller. And all day long, I'm making copies of deeds and deeds of trust and easements. And I'm like, I was bored to tears. I mean, I thank God that Charlie gave me that opportunity. And I met an abstractor that was based out of Montgomery County. And I said, Jamie, you got to give me I did the full summer of 88. And then in 89, I'm like, I'm going to go back and work for Charlie. And it was great. People were great. And I ended up getting Jamie, you got to get me a job and being a title abstractor. And so that's, that's when that all started. So fast forward, it was supposed to be a college job. Mm-hmm. One thing leads to another. One opportunity leads to another. I had opportunities even in like 92 to join NVR when the stock was like, I think it was less than $1, Darren. I'm like, ooh, no, because now I'm already out on my own. And at that point in time, interest rates were being cut from like 11%
double digits
to 8.5%. That's a great. And I'm like, there was major growth in 93. And then in 94, the rates go up about 6 times. It was historic. Mm-hmm. And, I got out of the business for about a year, did some direct sales, got back into the business. And, one thing led to another. And I ended up starting Executive Abstracts. And we can discuss more about what abstracting is, because people are like, what's
we're there. You're the abstract.
What's Executive Abstracts? And I always tell people,
you got to be careful what that is. Let's explain it.
My wife tells people he's an abstractor, and people are like, what in God's name is an abstractor? I say I do abstract art for executives, which I do abstract art. And I think one day Executive Abstracts might just be selling my abstract art. But I ended up realizing if I really want to build my customer base, my clientele, I had to, and I always knew I wanted to be in sales. I'm made for sales. I'm not made to be behind in a library back in the day, or now it's, abstracting. You're basically behind a computer all day long. I mean, that's just not my personality. But I mean, look, I'm not gonna kick the mouth in the horse. God has blessed me with an opportunity, and I've got great clients. I've met some great real estate lawyers. I know the business. I probably know real estate law than most lawyers do.
That's
And I didn't have to get to law school for that. It's just experience, but it's been a blessing. But I realized if I really wanted to do, instead of a bottom-up marketing approach where I'm trying to get settlement companies to use me for their abstracting services, that I had to become a realtor. And I would be able to go to a prospect and say, look, I'm a realtor. I've got a team. We do XYZ per month. I'll throw deals your way, but I want your abstract work. And at that point in time, I had, 7 to 10 employees. So I was able to parlay, and that was my goal, was to just totally parlay into real estate and just be done and just go into the sales direction. I'm still an abstractor for now, but I'm, you were asking about the Hamrocker name. Yeah. So there was this guy that I worked with down in the land records in Montgomery County when we, literally there's 40 to 50 people in this little library area. And his name was Sean Sharkey. And I just thought that name was so cool. And so I would say, every time I walked in the land records and we worked together, I'm like, Sean Sharkey. And he's the one that actually said, Mark Hamrick. And then it became, then he started calling me the Hamrocker.
The Hamrocker.
And then so all the people there that we were buddies with, it was kind of a weird kind of setup. Here you've got all this competition, but you've got abstractors that are your allies that you actually help you out, because I can explain more as far as the title search thing goes. You've got to rely on your plant, your back work, and things of that nature. So if there's one abstractor that I knew that did what we call basic on Montgomery Village, per se, or let's talk about Frederick County. If I know someone, I look at a deed and I know, well, XYZ abstractor did that search 5 years ago in Clover Hill. If I trust their work, I can go ahead and ask them, can I get that back case instead of me having to do a 60-year search?
Yep.
Because that's what the title insurance industry requires. The title insurance industry basically drives this settlement market. So to answer your question, and I didn't give you the short answer, Darren, did I? I gave you the long answer. So I became a realtor in 2004 with Long and Foster.
Yeah, it was right after I got licensed. I remember that.
Yes. But I don't think you started with Long and Foster, did you?
No, real estate teams,
so
and then Remax.
So you started with real estate teams right out of the gate.
Yep, 2003 with Janet Brown.
So they made you go on her team.
No, they make me. She invited me. I did all their marketing and everything. And Huey helped me buy my house in Thurmont way up in the day. But
Huey Brown, Huey,
come on, Huey. He's my man.
Does Huey listen to you?
He better. He's still learning some things from me.
He better. Let me tell you something about Huey Brown. Huey Brown and he used to come to my, right after I graduated from high school. I got to know Huey really well because we were in our little, it was called Career in College. It was kind of a little Bible study thing. And that's when I got to know Hugh.
Yeah. He's fun. They're good people. I'll forever be grateful to Janet. She taught me everything I know. So, all right, let's get into this thing. What you do, though, Hamrocker. And we got a fun story at the end. I'm going to share one of my favorite memories with you. We've been friends a long time, right? We were over at Teams, and you came over.
Right. So I started with Long and Foster, and then a few years later,
you jumped up over to us.
I loved New Rolling Castle, knew them very well.
Guys.
West Fream, and I brought in. So what happened is I still was full time abstracting. I was still working in my abstracting company. I knew you couldn't be really a successful realtor unless you're full time. I mean,
that's true.
And there are people that I'm going to use my aunt, my uncle, and they just got their real estate license last year. I mean, you're not gonna. I get that. You want, blood's sometimes thicker than water, but for goodness sake, you want to, when you're talking about the biggest asset that you have, you want to make sure you've got someone experienced. That's like Darren Ahearn or like Mark Hamrick back in the day. But so what happened was I wanted to basically, I knew I had to be a full-time president. So I brought in a buddy of mine that was in the lending industry at that point in time, and West Fream. And it just rhymed. I mean, it was the Hamrick Fream Team. It was just perfect. That. Yeah. So we actually met, I think, probably around 2007, because I think we were 2006, 2007. We were knocking it out of the park at Long and Foster, and then Roland. We weren't quite there to be technically a team as far as the qualifications, but Roland kind of just pushed us through because at that point in time, we had a listing with if you remember, Mr. Dr. Terrazzo, and we had that beautiful listing, and I love the whole family, and it's just unfortunate that particular house, which is it was on the historical society, but it burned down, and now they've leveled everything. It's just But anyway, so
I spent time in that farmhouse.
Oh, Doctor.
In 1982, I came down to their camp, Dr. Terrazzo's camp, and I was there. Dr. Sherry and all of them were there. I was about 11 years old. I got to ride the horses, swim in the pool in the backyard. I was that hillbilly kid from Pittsburgh coming into Frederick. First time ever. I got to stay at the Terrazzo
You are kidding.
farm.
Wait, so you were originally raised in Pittsburgh?
Raised in Pittsburgh, and my mother found the Go Tech Institute, they called it. And Dr. Terrazzo had a program where he studied kids and our behavior, and it was a blast. I loved it.
Well, he was a pediatrician originally, and in fact, he was one of my best friend, Brian Spivey's pediatrician. And he was a big advocate on homeopathy, which, he's a little bit different. I mean, but aren't we all? I mean,
all right. Yeah, he's a good man. God bless his soul, right? All right, so abstract title search and all that. Real quick before we go into a commercial break, let everybody know what is exactly, you're the person as realtors and you are real estate. You're the dude behind the curtain, like you said. You do a very important job. And tell everybody a little bit, just real touch. What's so important about an abstractor?
I mean, it's just some serious, exciting stuff. Again, it was supposed to be a college job and it became, it's legal research basically, Darren. And it's title insurance driven. Basically the terms of title insurance is that it has to go back 60 years. You've got a thing called a chain of title, which is basically the ownership, all the way back. Theoretically, 60 years, especially with titles in Montgomery County now. If you really want to make sure that your title's right, I mean, some of the restrictions, once they are enacted, are good forever. But I think with the title insurance companies now, they used to be very anal about this, but now I've even had people in the title insurance business saying, well, it's more of title insurance becoming more of an annuity kind of thing, where they know they're gonna incur a certain amount of risk, and they don't really care. So it's very important for a realtor,
somebody buying a home.
Yeah, someone buying a home. It's very important that they go through a very reputable title company.
That's
I mean,
right.
I've seen, I see deeds all day long. I see settlement companies come and go like the wind, especially when you're in a growth market, a refinance market.
Yep.
And, you get some realtors that haven't even been in business that long. And they're referring their friend that's barely been in the settlement business that long. And, there's certain title insurance companies that, we'll insure you, because basically what happens is the settlement company is an agent for the title insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And that settlement company does charge fees to the buyer and the seller. But really where they make their money is the title insurance.
That's right.
And, there's, my brother-in-law used to be a president of Standard Federal, and he and I have argued, we haven't really argued. We debated that the title, he's like, title insurance is such a scam. And I'm like, it is, but it isn't, mm-hmm. because especially if you're buying a high dollar value property, there's certain protections that title insurance is going to give you. Title insurance really was developed for the protection of the lender, to be honest with you. And it was a lender requirement.
Right. It's a required part of that.
I mean, if you got a buyer that has all cash, and I would even still recommend to a buyer, and especially if it's a piece of acreage, farmland, things of that nature, I would still say you've got to buy title insurance, because you've got to protect your butt.
Yep.
So
you never know who's going to come back.
So what we do, the abstractor is responsible for basically all restrictions, which would be your easements, covenants, rights of ways.
Yep.
And then also, this is one thing most people don't know. You might buy a house here in 2026, and it might have been originally developed, say, back in 1990. And the first owner lived there until, say, 2015, right? Mm-hmm. And then it went through a series of several owners. And one of the owners in that chain was, some deadbeat that never paid his taxes and had like a zillion federal tax liens and state tax liens. Guess what?
Yep.
Those liens are attached to that property, not the person.
Right.
And if a abstractor or, a title company uses a certain abstractor that relies on them and they miss it, or they're just fly by night and they're just negligent or whatever, guess who's on the hook? technically the title company, but the title company is an agent of the title insurer.
Right.
So the title insurance company is going after the abstractor. But however, you as the realtor, if you say, "Hey, Betty, use my buddy ABC Settlements," and they've only been in business for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And they're using some fly-by-night abstractor.
They just have a notary come and do the settlement.
Yeah, and they didn't even have a title search. You're done.
Big trouble.
You're done.
Yeah, this is the big one because, like you said, one of the first things, Hamrick, or one of the first things, Mark, that I deal with as agents, and you know this, is when there is something of a shared driveway or anything with power ladders in the back or in the back of our, or something, anything around it, or just in general. I am nutty about making sure our title company, and I like, like you said, an important point. I just had a client yesterday, a new buyer, and he asked about that. How does this all work with title companies? How do I select the right one? And I said, here's the bottom line. The cheapest is not always the best. You don't want that.
No.
And
No.
the bottom line is you want to have someone that's doing the title work, working with you, getting the information, who's a real estate attorney. And it doesn't cost you any more to have a title company that has an attorney on staff that's double checking and reviewing these title work and files and making sure there are no breaks and problems with it. And it's clear. A lot of the lenders, of course, they require it anyways, but that's not always the case in some instances, because as you know, you can speak to this. There's things that are missed all the time. I am amazed how many times I come back and find out that the biggest common one, but it's pretty easy to fix, thank God. And there's a lot of things that the title companies fix behind the scenes we don't even know about as agents because they want us to sleep at night. We're already going out of our minds dealing with people. And that is like, liens and, some of the things that were recorded correctly, especially back in the crash, 08, 9, 10. And all of a sudden they'll come back and say, hey, look, this wasn't, the paperwork wasn't done right. This lien release wasn't done correctly. And then next thing you know, 9 out of 10 times they'll say, oh, we've already taken care of it. Figured out what we had to do to rectify it. And to buyers and sellers, they don't even know what the heck's going on. There's so many sellers that own real estate, real property, we call it, that have issues on a title they don't even flipping know about. And that's what's wild to me. And some of it can be pretty dang severe, especially when you start getting into trusts, estates, and things that are recorded in such ways that are not your just, generic ways of doing it. But speak to that real quick, and then we got to go to a commercial break.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this industry as far as abstractors, because back in the day when things weren't so darn crazy, Montgomery County was still a farm county, Frederick County was still a farm county. A lot of real estate lawyers would actually do their own title search, or they would have their paralegals do it. And then, things just started getting so busy. And then, the likes of, I'm going to just throw out a couple old names. Universal Title used to be in this area. They were all throughout Maryland. I mean, Paragon Title down in Bethesda. There's a Counselor's Title down in Bethesda, DC, Gaithersburg. What happens is you start having you have to outsource. And what the title insurance companies are doing now is they're trying to, rein things in and do stuff in-house. The problem with that is, again, I think the title insurance industry has kind of, taken a back seat to being really clean of what you're talking about and making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, and making sure, instead of doing shortcuts, to make sure that there's not a specific easement or right of way that applies to that particular lot. And I'm going to tell you one thing now, Darren. This is what's happening today with, back in, if I do a title search down in Montgomery County, it's Chevy Chase. I'm going to have about 20 to, it could be 10 to 15, 20 different owners since the time that particular part of Chevy Chase was subdivided. Up here in Frederick County, a lot of these subdivisions are less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
And the one thing about these developers and even builders, there's going to be certain restrictions like retaining walls, stormwater management. There's so much more regulation in real estate now where where my report on a Chevy Chase property would be, it's a minimum building restriction line and deed with covenants. And half the time there's those covenants are null and void because they're racial, but there might be something about you can't have spirits. You can't, have livestock, something like that. But now it's very specific. And if you're dealing with a fly-by-night settlement company that uses a fly-by-night abstractor, there's going to be liability. And the last thing, and guess who's going to have the egg on their face, Darren, when that happens? The realtor.
Yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah,
but we don't have anything to do with it. It's not our job, Your Honor.
That's why you got to go with a rock and roll.
But a good agent. But a good agent.
And a good agent knows.
Has a good title company, and they have good abstractors like yourself. So, hey, we're going to go to a commercial break. Number one, thank you so much, Presidential Bank Mortgage. Terry Kernan, who is on every Saturday with me on your Frederick Real Estate Update from 11:30 on WFMD.
Terry.
They're awesome. We're going to have some stuff that we're going to show of their stuff. And then, of course, speaking of title, Mark, who could ever forget? Community Title Network, Brianne, Paul, and her crew. Those guys are awesome over there, Mikey and all them. And we want to thank them. And, of course, the one and only best insurance company, all Frederick, Connie Phillips Insurance. Her and Amy and the team and Carl, amazing people. They do my insurance. They've saved me lots of money, more than Geico could ever do. So make sure you guys check them out. Here they are.
Hi there. I'm Brianne Paul, an attorney with Community Title Network, the most trusted title partner for real estate professionals, buyers, and sellers. Our experienced attorneys, settlement agents, and processing staff put you at ease whether your closing involves residential real estate, commercial real estate, or other real estate matters in between. We work with the most respected title underwriters in the region to make sure your rights are protected and all title problems are resolved quickly. Experience close to home with our many locations, serving Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and Ohio, as well as remote signing options available. Reliable, efficient, top-notch service. That's Community Title Network. How can we help you today? Find us online at www.communitytn.com or call us at 301-304-6620.
Life doesn't always go as planned, but with Connie Phillips Insurance, you'll be ready for whatever comes your way. As an independent agent, CPI shops multiple carriers to find the right coverage at the right price. Auto, home, life, or business, we got you covered with personal service you can trust. Call Connie Phillips Insurance today at 301-662-5717. Remember, advising what's in your best interest, not just selling policies.
Sponsored by A&S Construction is a local and award-winning woman and minority-owned business located right here in Frederick, servicing Frederick County and surrounding areas. A&S Construction specialize in roofing and siding, windows and gutters, and they can even build you a new patio or deck. Call 301-703-2157 or email info@ansconstruction.net. You can get $750 off any roof or siding replacement or $50 off any roof repairs. Just tell Sandra that Danny sent you.
All right, we're back. Here we are for your real estate update. We're going to get diving on into this. We have special guest, Mark Hamrocker, the Hamrick man. He is here. We're going to play a fun little game. I just want to remind everybody out there, if you're listening in, even if you're out of the area, because Mark, we do have listeners and people out of the area.
That's beautiful.
I'm Maryland, PA licensed, but I can help anywhere in a sense. I've got awesome referral partners all over the country that are extremely qualified real estate agents. Make sure you don't go it alone and just make a call out to anybody. I've got the questions on how to interview and make sure they are on the top, and you are getting the greatest experience. Wherever it is, it could be in Texas, California. I got one of my good friends in Hawaii. Anywhere you want to be, even around the world, I've got international agents that can help out as well. So
that's pretty nice. Darren.
It is nice. It's a nice little. I've helped people all over, and they're just like, "Thank you for helping me find a really qualified, amazing agent. I appreciate it." And it's huge. I mean, it's I put my name out there.
Well,
put my neck on the line. But go ahead.
And I don't know if you have any connections there in the Delaware area or Ocean City.
Oh yeah.
But I do have a really good stud. I mean, he's a stud. He's like best friends with Scott Van Pelt, and he's smooth. So
yep, that's what I need: names and addresses. And
I'll get that. I'll get that name out there. I'll just throw it out there, Joe Preston. Anyways,
there we go. All right, it's time to play a fun game. You ready? This is called Stump the Ham Rocker.
Stump the Ham Rocker.
Woo, we're gonna try to see how good you are since you do titles, since you do abstract and the abstractor. And
he's a little abstract.
Here it is. This is it. We're gonna see a little quiz on how good is your IQ level for real estate. You ready, Mark?
Let's rock.
Let's go it. All right. How many homes are for sale right now in Frederick County?
Well, you know,
Is it 690, 712, or 745?
I think it's A.
It is not A. You've already lost the first question. It's 712.
You know, I should have.
2 weeks ago it was 690. We're going up. That's the key.
That is
going up just a tiny bit. All right. How many homes are for sale in the whole entire United States? Is it 978,000 homes, 1.12 million, or 1.3 million?
I'm going to have to say it's C, 1.3.
He's losing. Somebody better help. You need a lifeline out there. If somebody wants to help him, you're allowed to post the comments.
If I knew these questions, I would have done some homework.
I know. You can't do chat. You can't be calling a lifeline. All right. The average days on market in Frederick County, is it 29, 34, or 39?
You know, the market's been kind of hot, so I'm thinking that it is 29.
He's 0 for 3. I'll tell you what, brother. I'm
stumping me.
I'm stumping you up. I'm stumping
me.
34 days is where we're at. All right, here comes the next one.
Well, wait, hold on.
Yep.
Before that,
all right.
At one point in time, there was not much inventory, correct?
The ultimate was 99 homes for sale in the entire county, and the average was 7 days on the market, my friend.
Yes, so it was very quick.
Yeah, that was in 2020, 2021. Sorry,
I thought this earlier this year. It was kind of popping. No,
we've been seeing the inventory just keep going up and up and up. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Average days on the market in the United States, is it 45, 59, or 67?
Say that question again.
It's right up here, brother. There it is. How many days in the United States? What's the average time of the average home on the market in the United States before they get an offer?
59.
You got one. Hi, everybody. Give him a hand clap. The crowd goes wild. All right. The average single family home in Frederick County, what is the price? Is it this is going to blow y'all away. Some of the listeners, they know these numbers. 688,000, 710, or 725. The average single family home in Frederick. For sale right now.
I'm going to say lucky 710.
Nope, 725. We're up
nice,
to, my friend.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Nice.
Affordability. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Average home in the United States. The average single family home in the United States. The average price now is at $402,000, $422, or $443.
I mean, we're splitting hairs. I'm going to say it's 422.
That's it. We're at 422. Think of that. Let that sink in. The average home in the United States is $422,000, but in Frederick County, we're over $700 for a single family home.
And think about that.
Isn't that great?
So that means in West Virginia, back in the hills, it's probably okay. Whatever.
Anyways, let's not go there, brother.
Okay.
It's 800,000. I'll tell you right now, because they're on land, and that's where everybody wants to be, and they shoot guns. All right, what is today's 30-year conventional interest rate? Is it 6.51, 6.65, or 6.71?
It was the last time I checked 6.65, but I think they went up a little bit today.
Today we're at 6.71.
Yeah.
We need to get this down, everybody. Come on now. All right, what percentage of sellers in Frederick County who dropped their home price to get an offer last month? Was it 34% of sellers lowered their price to get an offer? Was it 41% or 44%?
I'm going to have to say it was the lower end, 34%.
41% of all sellers still didn't understand the real estate market. I know it's crazy, but they're learning out there.
Well, let me ask you this, Darren. I mean, just being a real estate agent at one point myself, it's like, especially when the market was hot prior to 2008, everyone thought their house was worth $1 zillion. And sometimes especially after the market started to pop, we can't tell them we can suggest what the price should be, but they ultimately go with it. And the house isn't moving. Well, I got to use another realtor.
No.
And they go with another realtor and use a lower price. That's always terrible, isn't it?
Crazy how that can happen.
Has that ever happened with you?
Embarrassing moment. A few times, yeah. And those are always those sellers that, they're never going to come back and they don't want to hear, I told you so. Even though I'd never do that, I'm very polite and say, okay.
I would be too.
I just had one recently in Damascus because of a worker's friend. Daughter got licensed and she didn't want to, tick off the boss kind of thing or whatever, I guess. And so she called me and said, I'm really sorry. I know you're qualified. You're amazing, Darren, but man, I keep my job. And then all of a sudden they overpriced the house and it got to be ugly. And guess what happened? I got that phone call. Yep. And the seller said, all right, let's get this thing done right. And guess what? Had like 30 showings in 4 days and got multiple offers. And now
nice. Knocked it out of the park.
Got them $10,000 than they thought they were going to get. So that's not bad, right? Who wants an extra 10 G's in your pocket as a seller? All right, check this one out. You're going to like this one. Oh, yeah. So how many days that a home is on the market before buyers think something is wrong with the house? How many days? Is it 7, 14, or 30 days?
It really depends how observant you are. My wife always says I'm not as observant as she is, but I think I'm more observant than she is. So, you would think maybe 14 days, but I think it probably takes most people, because people just don't pay attention. I want to say it's either 14 or 30. Or did I just really?
It's 14.
It is 14.
14 days is about when buyers say, what's wrong with the house? Why is no one buying it?
What's going on here? Why didn't I get that home inspection?
No, yeah, right. That's what you can do, but they want to know why I didn't get an offer yet. So, all right, what room do buyers spend the most time in while looking at houses? Is it the kitchen, living room, or the bathroom?
Just from past experience, I believe it's the kitchen.
You're right. Ding, 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 ding. It's all about the kitchen, boys and girls. So before you update the bathrooms, take care of the update of the kitchen. The kitchen is a big one. Hey, one of the things, I'm selling a house right now, Mr. Hamrocker, up there on the boulevard, up on Jefferson Boulevard up there.
Jefferson Boulevard.
Up in the beautiful place called Braddock Heights.
Braddock Heights.
The luxury living, the rich and famous. And I helped the buyers actually, they're awesome, and bought a house up there 12 years ago. First thing they did, smartest move ever. Took out the wall in the rancher house that was dividing up the kitchen and the sinin and all. And they opened it all up and made it beautiful. And
great idea. Just
and
great.
Guess what? Boom. Greatest thing they ever did was move that wall instead of the bus. So,
now, Darren, do most of our listeners, there's a lot of transplants. And that's one thing that kind of bugs me, that a lot of people are moving out of the USSR of Montgomery County. Okay. And coming up here. But there's a lot of people that really don't know the history behind Braddock Heights. Do you know the history behind Braddock Heights?
Well, there's a roller skating ring. They've had some fires. They actually had, I've seen it. They actually have the old remnants. There was a ski slope.
That's correct.
Ski lift.
That's correct.
Literally down in the back parts of yards, there was a ski lift.
That's correct.
In Braddock Heights.
So do you know the history behind that, Darren?
I actually do. I saw it on Facebook one night and was intrigued, and it was amazing. So you skied there, didn't you?
Man, I've been skiing for a while, but that was way before my days, and that would have been a really lame slope. Yeah, you're a skier. That run would have taken about 27 seconds to get down.
Yeah,
but it was the rich people from DC would come up.
That's right.
And then from Baltimore, they would go up to another great little town it's kind of on the border of northern Frederick County, but Washington County and PA, called Penmar.
Yep.
So there was an amusement park up there, and that was for, the rich folks from Baltimore, because can you imagine no AC back in the day?
Oh, unbelievable. But I've actually sold homes up our Chairman Lane, the High Orchard House, one of the largest homes. Dude, this thing had an elevator in it. It was like 12 bedrooms, guest maid service. Oh, it was unreal. And I'm thinking in my mind back in the 1920s and 30s when those people, the rich and famous, would come up on a choo-choo train, get off at Penmar Park. They didn't have golf carts back then, but they had horse and buggies that actually take them right to their house. And they spent the whole summers there. And these were some crazy wealthy people for back in the day. And I got to sell some of these homes already. It's amazing.
What kind of price was that, Darren?
Ooh, that was $800,000. And that was, just years and years ago. It's over $1 million. There's homes up there that are over $1 million.
Absolutely. No doubt.
But that's something though. But back in the day, I mean, come on, Mark, the 1920s and 30s when these homes were built, they had elevators in them.
So was the elevator still operational?
It is. It's still there. Not operational, but it was there and it could be fixed and brought back to life. So anyways, check this out. Here's another big question for you. You're going to love it. How many gallons of paint does it take to paint the interior of an average 2,000 square foot home? Is it 9 gallons, 14, or 18?
I mean, Darren, do I look like a painter? I mean, I might be an abstractor and I might paint some abstract art, but I have no idea. I'll say C.
14 gallons, it's B. You're
Is
close,
it B?
though.
I was
Man,
close.
you put too much paint on there, but that's okay. But you're going to love this. I'm into the painting thing right now. What color front door gets the most money in an offer for a seller? Is it a white door, black door, or red door?
Well, you know, my old man always used to say, because he was a Methodist minister, and he always said, you know, hey, Mark, the Episcopalian churches are painted, the doors are painted red. And I said, why is that, Dad? Oh, because it's the gateway to hell. It was a joke. It was a joke. I apologize if I'm pissing off any Episcopalians. But I have to say, you'd have to go with a neutral white, because black, that seems kind of Darth Vaderish.
It does, but guess what? That's the correct answer.
That's the correct answer.
A black door depends on the outside and the house. Depends on your HOA. Be careful. Somebody's going to go paint their door black now, and I'm going to get a phone call and say, we had the HOA police tell us we couldn't.
Oh, I know. You've got to love the communist HOA.
The HOAs, the historical society, all those guys, right? All right, here we go. What state has the highest median home values? Is it Maryland, New York, California, or Hawaii?
Well, back in the day, and I say back in the day, I'm talking about the, early 2000s, a couple of times when I went out for some conventions or whatever in San Diego. And San Diego's average price was like $850,000.
That was 20 years ago, too.
And, that was before we had a governor named Gavin Newsom that likes to tax everything. California has had a great exodus. So I would say California. Mm-hmm. I would say possibly New York. Maryland, I'm going to tell you, Darren, the average price that I'm seeing down like in Bethesda, Chevy Chase, it's like 1.2, 1.6, 1.7. Hawaii. I mean, there's one thing that's in common about all 4 of these states that you're stating here. And I'm not going to get political.
Yeah,
so
let's not get political.
I'm just going to have to say it's California, but I think it might be New York.
Nope. Come
It's
on, Hammer Rocker.
Maryland.
It's the second favorite place I ever go to. My best friend.
Hawaii.
Yeah, my Jesus Ramos out there at the Remax in Honolulu in Hawaii.
Have you gone on some trips? Has Remax housed you to
Yeah.
You've won some trips out there, huh?
I've gone out 4 or 5 times.
Rock star. Just a rock star, Darren.
He tells me sell everything, come on out here and sell homes, but I can't do that.
Why can't you? You can do it now.
I can't do that. I can't afford to sell them. I can't live there. The average house is $5 million. I don't know. All right. How many homes are sold in the United States per year? 2 more questions. This is it. And then we're going to have some more fun. How many homes are sold in the United States every single year? Is it 3.9 million transactions? You should know this because you're an abstractor.
Yeah, because I do it every single county.
Or 4.5. If you get this wrong, how many homes averaging right now in the United States selling? How many are we going to sell this year?
I mean, it's you got to figure there's nearly 350.
Don't overthink it, brother.
And 350 350 million. I mean, do we know how many houses there are in the United States? Do you know that trivia question?
I think it's 161 million.
Is it 161 million? Sounds good.
Not quite.
So I would have to say, I would go to the higher end, but
Okay.
I think it's probably the lower end, 3.9.
You missed it again, brother. 4.1. Now, we've had over 5 million transactions before. The highest ever, 2021, of course, COVID. All right, this is the last question. This is the biggest one. What is the average age of the first time home buyer? Is it 33 years old, 37, or 40?
Well, that's a really great question, Darren. How old were you when you first bought yours? I was 23.
I was 25, and my son just bought a house 6 months ago, and he is 25.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to
average
go
age.
with the age of 33, the age of when Jesus Christ was crucified.
Yeah, well, Jesus, he didn't own a house, but he was the
did
man.
not.
But he had a lot of homes he got to hang out in.
That's true.
That's right. He was borrowing other people's homes, and it was great. But here's the thing. It used to be 33, but that was decades ago. It's now 40. This is the problem in real estate.
Yes.
First-time home buyer, 40 years old. There is no reason for that.
No.
I will personally sit down with. Now, if you want to rent, if you don't want to own a house, there's nothing wrong with that. Not discriminate against anybody that wants to do that. But there is a major problem, and it's most people I have found, Mark, they do not know the path to home ownership. And so there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of information out there. And a lot of people still think, and Terry says this on our other program, they think you got to have 20% down to buy a house. No, you don't. We got programs, no money down. We got grant money. We got 3% down conventional. I just sat down with a buyer yesterday, and they're going to be first-time home buyers. And the stuff that I gave them and shared with them over the course of an hour, they couldn't believe it. They just couldn't believe how much has changed, what they've heard, what Uncle Bob told them, and the whole nine yards. So there you go.
Well,
all right.
wait.
Any last comments? Or we're going to get into Frederick County numbers.
Well, I think, Darren, that's also a reflection of our society. Mommy and daddy letting, Johnny boy play video games until he's 27. And
Oh,
he's,
let's be nice to those guys.
I mean, the millennials, I'm not going to get too political here.
Let's work. Let's work. It's not free. If you want a house, you got to get after it. All right. Frederick County numbers. Here we go today. 712 homes for sale. Last week was 698. 2 weeks ago, 701. Week before, in the last month, 695. This is what's crazy. First time ever that I've been doing real estate for an entire month. We have seen inventory pretty much flat. Everybody wants to know, when's the shoe going to drop? When's something going to happen? When is inventory going to go sky high through the roof? When are crashes of prices? None of that stuff. We're seeing prices level. We're seeing inventory level and all that kind of stuff like that. So check this out. Resale homes, Mark there. Check it out. The Hamrocker. Resale homes, 584. Average time, 33 days in the market. The average price of all of them, single family condos, everybody, $599,000. And we've been flat. Last year was at 591. We're seeing a little dippy right now. We caught a little dippy down.
down.
Resale single family homes. There's 326 of those today for sale with the days on market 36. The average is 725 price we talked about. Last year was 721. Oh, the sky is not falling. We're just flat for a minute. Under contract, 529 homes in Frederick County are under contract pending right now. Here's the big number. Last year, 359 on this day.
That's a good thing, correct?
We're seeing volume coming on up. That's what I mean. So when people out there say, there's nobody buying home. What are you, nuts? We're getting back to normal. We're getting back to average.
Yes, sir.
Under contract, 372 resale homes and 30 days on the market. 500 is the median price, 544 average. Sold in the last 30 days, 352 homes. That's going to go up because why? We got 529 for sale, and all of those are going to pretty much settle within the next 45 days. And resales, 320 of those, 22 days in the market. And this is the big one. The average price of the sold ones, 540. So the bottom line is we've been kind of flat or down just a little bit. But at the end of the day, prices in Frederick County year over year We are holding steady at about 2.5 to 2.9% up. If we continue on this path, we're praying that when Santa Claus comes, we'll be at about 4% price increase in Frederick County,
Nice.
which would be really sweet because last year it wasn't quite the same. So here's some other numbers. Flip over to your next page. You're going to like this. This is June 2026 statistics. Units sold. Frederick County has every county in there. You'll like that. We're up 2.2% in volume. Average price, we're up 2.8. Like I said, 2.9, 2.8. Follows right along. Median prices up 4.7. Under pending contracts. This is a big one where we see those up. And then active inventory, it says 762. I'm sorry, 732. So it fluctuates. And then months of inventory. Last year it was 2.8 months. Now we're down to 2.4. And then the median days in the market, they say median this year 10. That's the median, but the average is like 33. And the new listings, it was at 497 last year. This one, 407. Less sellers are putting their home on the market. That's because almost 40% of them had it on the market last year. And we call those derate. They're delisting. They're so mad. They're just mad. All right, Maryland. We're going to look at Maryland real quick. Units sold, volumes up 2.3% since last year. Average price 3.8. Maryland is doing a little better than Frederick County at the very present moment for the month of June. Median price 3.3. So that's more in line. That takes out the highs and the lows. Months of inventory 2.9. We're at 2.8. And median days in the market was 11. So we're like right in line. We're doing good.
You know, Darren, I tell you, looking at the housing statistics, it looks like Charles County, St. Mary's County, and Garrett County are just rocking it. Well, Garrett County being
they have less sales. They have less volume in numbers. And that's why it's almost like saying, man, the market's up 50%. Yeah. Last time, one house selling, they have two.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's skewed data, my friend. But it does look pretty sexy on paper.
It does look sexy.
Until you get down to some of those kind of figures and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. But they're doing good. Some of these areas are doing better. Some areas aren't doing as much and well as all. So that's that. So, and before we take another commercial break here and end our program coming up, what do you think about the current real estate market in like 1 or 2 minutes? What do you think about the current real estate market?
Well, you know, last week with the housing, Housing Act, the Housing Affordability Act that was passed. I mean, it passed the Republicans and Democrats both finally came together.
They did.
Trump did not sign it. And as per the Constitution, he did not veto it either. He was trying to get the Save America Act passed through as well. But he was actually for it as well. Yeah. But it's also called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. And I've read parts of it. Basically, it's going to restrict corporations that own over 350 units, residential units. They cannot buy and lease anymore, because what was happening is big money was coming, corporate money was coming in, buying housing up and making us more of
institutional investor.
Yeah, institutional investor.
Where devil.
Where they drive the prices up, manipulate the market.
That's right.
And we become a leasehold country versus home ownership.
That's right.
So I think overall, this act is going to really start kicking in. It's going to take a little while, but it's going to be a good thing for the real estate market across the United States, period.
Yeah, and it's going to deal with less regulatory issues. They're supposed to get government out of the way a little bit more, which is going to be interesting. I don't know how you're going to do that. Smaller to where less regulations. They're going to streamline some different things to be able to build houses and have the builders build homes and get things through faster and get more supply, get more for people. The biggest thing is some people are saying we have a massive housing shortage, and there's other people out there screaming on the TikTok videos. They're everywhere. They're collecting dust all over Texas and here and there. In parts, that is true. But as a whole, we still need more housing because of the population. Mark, one of the things I talk about is the amount of buyers, the pent-up demand, the amount of buyers sitting on the sides of the swimming pool waiting to jump in the waters is the highest we've ever seen. It's just that simple. And what are they waiting for? It's simple. Affordability. They're waiting for like interest rates to go to 3% again. You're going to be sitting on the side of the pool until you're 80. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Or they're waiting for prices to crash. That is not going to happen either. We're not seeing any signs of that. If anything, we just talked. If you wait, it's going to cost you more. And the thing, Mark, people are saying is, I can't wrap my head around that. How in the world is housing only going to cost more money? Because everything goes back to supply and demand. There are so many people that need and want housing that this is why we're seeing the numbers, especially in our area, go up. Now, there are parts of the country, they're down double digits, and it's only because those places like Austin, Texas, Cape Coral, Florida, half of Florida, Southern California, and Seattle, and places like this, Memphis, not Memphis, but Nashville. If you study those markets, they were already massively hyperinflated by 10, 20%. They've had their 20% correction. They're just getting back to like starting to get to reality. So, all right, we got a commercial break. Thank you so much to all of our awesome sponsors. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Maryland Lottery. Tons of ways to win. Hot scratch-offs like big money where a $5 ticket could net you $50,000 or the $2 Monopoly ticket with a top prize of $10,000. Go to mdlottery.com for all the details. Plus, you can download the app and scan your tickets to see if you're a winner. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly. Sponsored by Atlas Wood Floors. Serving the area for more than 34 years. Wood floors, luxury vinyl plank. Anything that you put on your floor, they can handle it. Check out their Google reviews and give them a call today. 301-948-9663. That's 301-948. Wood. Be sure to ask for Jeff Koger or go to atlaswoodfloors.net. Sponsored by Lawn Squad. Quick and easy quote, and you can be on your way to having the best lawn in the neighborhood. Watch the progress as Brian from Lawn Squad brings Danny's lawn back to life. Visit lawnsquad.com.
All right, I am Darren Ahearn with Remax Results, your host for your weekly, and it's your real estate update. Thank you so much, Presidential Bank Mortgage, as always, right here in Frederick and all over Maryland. Terry Kernan and his awesome crew there. They're awesome. Right downtown Frederick here. Yeah, and he's on with me, as you guys know, on your Frederick Real Estate Update every Saturday morning from 11 to 11:30. We are on live most of the time, taking calls and all that good stuff, too.
I think I'm going to have to join you and Terry.
We
sometime.
would. Oh, heck yeah.
I mean, Terry's a good boy. I love
He
him.
sure is. He just needs to, just keep doing loans for me. He's done a great job. Yes. Community Title Network. Brianne, you guys are awesome. We've been talking title stuff a little bit, how important it is. She is a bona fide real estate attorney, and it doesn't cost you any more. That's what you want. That's what else can you get, right? And then, of course, Connie Phillips Insurance. We love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. All right, a couple more minutes left in the program, Mark. Here we go. This is the big question of the day. This one I'm not going to be able to stump you with and get the ham rocker stumped up. What do you feel is the biggest challenge or problem in the real estate market?
Well, Darren, you were touching on we were discussing that just before the commercial break, but I really feel that our society, it's a shift in our society's thinking, again, and I don't want to pick on the millennials or anything of that nature. I don't want to pick on the baby boomers and how they brought up their kids, but we've become a society of entitlements and where people feel like, well, the government should be helping me get a house. The government should be giving me this and giving me that, where it used to be the famous words of JFK, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Yes. And
we've kind of gotten away from that. And JFK was a Democrat, for goodness sake.
That's right.
I have no problem with Democrats for the most part. But anyways, I think it's the whole shift in mindset. And we've got to get on track with hard work. It produces results.
That's right.
And do not expect the government to take care of you. And I really believe that's the biggest problem. We got to this whole move towards socialism. It's not going to be good for the real estate market. I can tell you that.
No, you definitely don't want that. And that's the thing. I was telling you about the expectations. I think if someone would say affordability, yeah, that's part of it. But there's other things that are actually the root of what we're dealing with in some regards. And a lot of that deals with expectations. I told you, I've never seen a divide ever like this. It's nothing to do with racial or this, that, government. No. That's one side of government, like division, blah, blah. The biggest thing that we see just as a general rule is the buyers and sellers expectations have the largest divide we have ever seen in real estate in my 24 years career. And it's like, you can't manage that. You can't handle, how do you, somebody asked me one day, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I manage people's expectations all day, because that's what it feels like is like on the buyer side. It's like, no, you're not getting an $800,000 house for $200,000. And the seller's like, I want $1 million. No, let's get to reality. You're at the highest it's ever been. And it seems like it's still not good enough. Are you kidding me? We've lost our minds. It's like, what has happened here, right? Yeah. So that's part of it. And real quick, in my thing, we've got these, new policies and things coming up there. But if you could change one thing, we talked, there's a lot of things out there, but I'd love to see people that are 65 and older who have their homes paid off and their mortgages paid off, and those property exemption tax stuff and all that gone, unless your net worth's over $1 million. What the heck are you paying property taxes for after you're 65 years old? What are you doing?
Ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
Crazy. Another one is VA. I love our military. They should never have to pay a funding fee. Are you kidding me? When they get a mortgage, these people have served our country. My God, we can find the other. I would pay more in taxes if I knew it was going to go to the right thing and they didn't have to pay the dang funding fee. I get fired up about this.
Absolutely.
And they should also, in military, should also get a $5,000 credit as well. Buyers, if you purchase home, this is the government thing. I'm going communist. Get ready. If you buy a house between now and December 31st, you get a $5,000 tax credit next year. Mark, we've already had that happen. If you remember back in way 05, 6, whatever year it was, we already had that. I think that would help first-time home buyers and people that just need a little edge up. That's not a big thing to ask. Come on, boys and girls. I agree. We find money. We'll get that money from somewhere else. And then if you think an agent, agents, that's just no one. Professionalism and all that stuff like that. So last thing I'll share is this. We got about 30 seconds. Check this out. My favorite memory with you.
Let's hear it.
It was 6 years ago. We were down at the old Clarion Hotel. We were with Billy Shreve and Blaine Young and the good old boys and these person. Everybody was there. And it was the night of the election. I wanted to have the first woman president.
It was actually 10 years ago.
I'm sorry. It's 10 years ago. I can't remember. I'm so bitter about it. But man, we were there and all of a sudden it got late. They kicked our butts out. The only place we could go to was back to the Hamrocker's house. We go to your house. It's 2:00 in the morning. And dude, I was like, dude, I'm done. We are not going to have a president.
You hung with me.
I was done. I hung with you. I was the last survivor that night. And I went to the bath. I got so fed up. I ended up going to the bathroom. And the only thing I heard come out of your mouth was, "You're done.
You're done, Hillary. You're done.
You're done."
That was a great night. That was a great night.
I cried that night. You were screaming it, and I was crying. And
he was not crying, folks.
The rest was history. It was what it was. It was crazy. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to your real estate update. Thank you, guys. We'll be here each and every Monday night. Mark, thank you for coming on as the Ham Rocker.
Thank you very much,
Darren. Thank you for what you do. If you didn't do what you did, we would have massive problems with ownership of properties. You do a really important thing, man. You are the Ham Rocker out there.
Well, you know what? I try to be a rock star at everything I do. So I do appreciate you having me on here and talking to you fine folks. God bless America, baby.
That's right. Thank you so much for being on. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. And we will be here. Happy buying and selling. And we just say it. God bless America.
And a quick shout out to my dear son, Cody, and his wife, Courtney. Today is their anniversary. 2-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
2 days after I was on national television at the GOP convention. That was nice too.
Nice. All right. Take care, folks. We will be here each and every Monday night and from Studio 401 on Everything Frederick Live. Thank you guys so much. Happy buying and selling. And God bless America.
God bless America, baby.
Buy a house. Amen.
Thanks for joining Darren Ahearn on your real estate update. For more smart local real estate insight, market trends, and practical advice for buyers, sellers, and homeowners, follow and subscribe to stay one step ahead.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network, your home for Frederick's best podcasts. streaming daily on YouTube.